So my name is Jessie. I am our outgoing co-chair. So I've already served as co-chair last year, and then this is my final year within my term. But I've actually been part of the AWHE organization since 2018, and then I served as the marketing chair. So I've actually been right where many of you are. I've served as an IR, served as a committee chair, and now serving as a state co-chair. In my professional life, I am currently an adjunct faculty member at Scottsdale Community College to teach a couple of different marketing courses there. I'm fully online because I'm actually based in the North Texas area. I lived in Arizona for 6 years. I moved back to Texas about a year ago. But I'm still very much part of the Arizona higher education space. I love Scottsdale, I love higher ed, and I love Arizona very, very much. And when it's not COVID times, I still like to try to go back there and visit and, meet with my supervisors in person and that kind of thing whenever I get a safe chance to do so. In the daytime, I am actually a channel marketing manager for McAfee, the cybersecurity company. So doing a lot of content development and again, just more marketing based type of stuff. So a few fun facts about me. The two furry little monsters that I told you about, you can see them on the right there. So my golden retriever on top, her name is Jazz. She is very sweet, very snuggly. And then the one on the bottom, the one who looks more snuggly, her name is Wiley. And she's very aptly named after Wile E. Coyote. And don't let that picture fool you because secretly on the inside, she is crazy and she loves to play, loves to wrestle, and she has so much energy. That was probably one of the few times that she was actually relaxing. So that's why I got such a cute picture of her. Another weird little fun fact about me is my favorite food is cereal. So forget steak, forget lobster, forget any of that. Give me a bowl of milk and some cereal and I am good to go. As you can see, we have a ton of institutions represented all around the state. And now, as you've heard, we've got a really wide variety of institutional representatives this year. We've got faculty, we've got staff, and we've got, just across the gamut, full-time employees, part-time employees. And so it's really exciting to hear that we're going to have a lot of different perspectives to come to the table this year. All right, so our mission is to, so we're actually part of the American Council on Education's office. So this is a national organization, and in general, we're really dedicated to advancing women into leadership positions. So we promote the leadership development, but we try to focus on the leadership development of women throughout all of our Arizona higher ed institutions. So these are colleges, universities. As I said, we have somebody serving from Synergist Education, which is really awesome. We do have an executive board that kind of oversees and makes all the final decisions for us, but really it's our institutional representatives that are the bread and butter of AWHE, and really make things happen for us. So you're going to have a very direct impact on women all throughout the state in higher education. And within AWHE, there are tons of leadership opportunities. And so especially for those of you who are new, but even for those of you who are seasoned, you might not realize that there is so much more to AWHE than just being an institutional representative. So if that's what you choose to do, you can serve as an IR for essentially as long as you want to. So they're 2-year increments. So at the end of your 2-year term, if you want to re-up, you can submit another application, get approvals again, and you can continue being an IR for several years if that's something that you would like to do. If you see AWHE as being a pretty big part of your future, so looking at Jessica and Karen and myself, just as an example, if you want to move into a committee chair role, that's a 1-year term. So committee chairs will serve within 1 year, and that just fits within your IR term. So it doesn't add on an extra year or anything like that. But just because you serve 1 year doesn't mean that you would necessarily serve that same committee in a chair position the following year, if that makes sense. Beyond that, we also have state co-chairs. So that's myself, Karen, and Jessica this year. And beyond becoming a state co-chair, a great example of this is Pam, that she served as a state co-chair last year. And this year she's serving not just as a board member, but actually as an executive board member. So if anybody is interested in learning more about leadership opportunities within AWHE, let us know. We would love to get you in front of the board if that's something that you're interested in doing. And board leadership positions do have to be voted on by the rest of the board. But I can tell you that it definitely looks really great to people or great to the board if you already have that prior experience with AWHE. So in general, throughout your term, whether it's 2 years, whether you want to sign on as a state co-chair, whether you want to be with AWHE for forever, just be thinking about what you want your future with AWHE to look like and kind of keep these leadership positions in mind. So now we're going to kind of get into, where has AWHE been? Like, what have we done in the past? So this is a little bit of our throwback to 2019, our last in-person conference. And so we got a couple speakers here. We had we had a self-defense presentation. We had all sorts of breakout sessions, and we had a really great mixer the night before the conference. And it was a really great way to bring women together, let everyone talk. We didn't have to wear masks or anything like that. And it was just a great way for us to connect with one another, learn from one another, and we even handed out some pretty cool prizes. So that was the last normal conference that we had. And in 2020, most of you know there was this thing called a pandemic, and that screwed up our plans for 2020. So we ended up not being able to have a conference in 2020. We had one planned. It was really cute. The logo looked awesome. We had everything set in stone. And then COVID hit. So unfortunately, we had to cancel this one just a few weeks before we were supposed to officially launch it. So enter 2021, which was a year of big firsts for us. So this is our first time launching not only a fully digital conference, but launching any kind of digital aspects at all. So we had a digital event outside of our conference. So we actually had a panel where we had many of our board members speak about leadership opportunities and how to grow as a leader. And we also used a platform that allowed us to connect and come together in a digital space. So as you can see on the top here, we had a speaker, and they could show their slides and go through their normal sessions just like they would in person. And then these two women served as some of our keynote speakers. What you see over here on the left, all of this content and these forums and whatnot, we actually had a place where women could come together and talk about all sorts of things. So you could create your own forum, you could create a place to come together and talk about any number of topics. So as you can see, we had some coming in to talk about what it's like being a full-time working mother. We had some talk about, hey, I love Brene Brown. Do you love Brene Brown? And really just finding those commonalities or those different perspectives that help grow us as individuals. And I mean, this is just a quick screenshot. And as you can see, I mean, there were 31 messages in here, 47 messages in here. So a lot of these were very, very populated with messages. And this is just a small sampling of the messages and the forums that we had. So it was a really interesting way for us to connect. So 2021 was definitely a year of firsts and a year of learning. So now the question is, where are we headed? Knowing that we used to be fully in person, now we've been digital for the last year. So what on earth is going to happen from here? What's our big vision for AWHE? So here's kind of our vision for the future, just in a nutshell. And really, a lot of our vision is going to come from all of you. So if you have any thoughts, if you have any opinions on what you would like to see from AWHE, just reach out to us. Let us know, because we can always expand on this future, and we can always build it to be better and to better support women in higher education. So one of the things that we're discussing is potentially having a national presence. So do we want to be restricted to just Arizona? Do we want to reach women in other states to find out what they're doing in higher education? Just things like that. We'd also love to recruit more AWHE ambassadors and more IRs, such as yourselves. We want to be able to host additional events. So this is like that non-conference panel that we had last March. So really just finding new ways to connect women around the state or perhaps around the country. Offering platforms for engaging and inspiring discussions. So trying to create a platform where we can have more of that forum and that community and that engagement with one another. So maybe something like opening up blogs where women can come and they can write articles and contribute to our blogs, and then we can share those on our various outreach channels. It would be really great if we could get to a point where we could set up some kind of really coherent process for sharing job opportunities at different higher ed institutions around the state. We would love to implement a mentorship program. We've heard that from several conference attendees and IRs that they would love to be able to mentor someone or be mentored by someone. So these are just a few of the ideas that we're thinking about in terms of how to grow AWHE. And obviously this kind of stuff doesn't happen overnight, and it takes a lot of legwork from all of us. So the more ambassadors that we can get to join our team, the more easily we can accomplish a lot of these really cool things. And then obviously there's even more things that we're not thinking about. So as you go to work, try to think about those pain points that you have in terms of moving into a leadership position. What are some things that can make your day-to-day job easier? Are there things that you've already identified that you want to share with others? So your role as an IR. So like I mentioned, this is a 2-year term of service. So for many of you, your term started October 1st, 2021, and it ends September 30th, 2023. For many of you, you're halfway through your term. So it started last year and it will end at the end of our conference cycle this upcoming year in 2022. But in general, here's kind of what we expect of our IRs. Obviously you're serving in a leadership position, as opposed to the rest of your institution. So really we rely on you to recruit conference workshop presenters and attendees. So even though some of you may not be on our marketing and outreach committee, we're still going to rely on you to keep up those communications between AWHE and your institution. So if you work at AWHE College, for example, we're going to rely on you to share with AWHE College anytime we have some kind of event or conference, or if we are opening up award nominations or workshop presentations. So whether you're on the outreach committee or not, we do rely on our IRs to keep up those communications between ourselves and the institutions, just to make sure that we're reaching a wide breadth of people. An IR is also expected to participate in our monthly conference calls. And I'll be completely honest with you, we really have a requirement for our committee chairs. So for those of you IRs, we highly encourage you to attend those monthly calls. They can be really helpful. It's a great way to get to know people, especially people who are outside of your committee. But for the most part, it's really generally required for those who are serving as a chair of your committee. So if you're not able to make it, that's 100% okay. And for those of you who are serving in that chair position this year, if there's ever a time when you can't make it, just feel free to let us know. We can either take those updates and give them to the rest of the team on your behalf, or you can always ask somebody who's maybe not in that leadership role to attend that meeting on your behalf, if that's what you would like to do. As an IR, you're going to be responsible for strategizing and executing our annual conference planning efforts, as well as attending the annual conference. So whether it's in person, hybrid, digital, whatever that looks like, we do have an expectation that our IRs actually attend the conference. For one, we want you to be able to really see the fruits of your labor. But for two, like I said, we really rely on you to be ambassadors of AWHE. And it's so much easier to do that if you can actually attend the events that we're hosting for everyone and, learn more about what it is that we can do to better serve our organizations. Part of being an IR is also performing behind the scenes duties at the annual conference. So just because you attend the annual conference, it doesn't necessarily mean that you would be able to go to every single session that you would want to. There are definitely ways to do that, and we try to work with you as much as possible, because obviously this is for your professional development as well. But we also do need your help in terms of volunteering and making sure that our speakers are good to go, making sure that our keynote speakers are ready to go. And in general, just kind of helping us make sure that this conference goes off as seamlessly as it possibly can. I kind of mentioned this one a little bit, but sharing AWHE information and marketing materials with your respective institutions. Recruiting for additional institutional representatives during our off season. So our off season typically is the summer. So it's typically between the conference and when we kick off our next, basically the IR retreat. So during that off season, we do ask our IRs to be on the lookout for any other upcoming IRs. So I got many questions about, can one institution have multiple IRs? Absolutely. ASU tends to have several, AWHE College tends to have several, U of A, NAU. Rio Salado College, of all colleges, that one tends to have a lot of representatives. So there's really not a cap on how many representatives we can have here at AWHE. And honestly, the more representatives we have, the easier it is on everybody to kind of split up the workload and help connect with the rest of your institution. So,
hi, everybody. I'm going to try to keep my video on just for a little bit. I'm out in the country, and so I just freeze if I leave my video on. So I joined as an IR in 2017. I started out when I was an adjunct at Glendale Community College. And so that was actually my first conference was that spring. And I signed up right away and came in as an IR the fall of 2017. I was the digital events chair last year. And I'm the new state co-chair, so I'm really excited about that. I love this organization and what we do and getting to network with all of you and everybody. So it's just been a huge blessing in my life to be a part of this organization. So I teach English at AWHE College. I have been teaching English in higher ed since 1999. I've taught all over the state at NAU and ASU and Coconino Community and Glendale Community and Grand Canyon. And so now I'm finally landed full-time at AWHE. And I've been here, this is my 4th year actually being full-time, although I started at AWHE back in 2003 as an adjunct. I also have written a couple of books on just helping women in business with things like organization and goal setting and networking and things like that. So I co-wrote those with some of my friends, and I've spoken at different events about those things as well. So some fun facts about me. I have 4 kids. My oldest is 19, my youngest is 5. So there's 10 years in between my 2 youngest. My daughter is my oldest, and the other 3 are boys. So as you can imagine, it gets pretty loud at my house. And my favorite season is fall. So I'm really enjoying this. I've got my fall colors on today and my pumpkin muffin for breakfast. So I'm all set for fall. And like I said, I live in the country. We have a dog and a cat. It's pretty normal. We also have like 1 million chickens and 2 mini zebus. So it's really fun. We're kind of living the country life.
Hello, folks. My name is Jessica Jones, and I am the co-chair-elect currently for Arizona Women in Higher Education. And what that means is, as of this time, I'm currently serving my first year in a 3-year term. So I will be serving in this co-chair role for the next 2 years. So very, very exciting to continue my journey with Arizona Women in Higher Education for the next couple of years in that role. I first attended a conference back in 2014. I was hungry for some professional development as a newer transplant to Arizona, and this conference was just a fantastic experience. So after attending that first conference and staying kind of on the periphery, I started serving as an institutional representative in 2018 and have continuously been involved as an IR, serving on several different committees. So I've been on the workshops committee, I've been part of registration, and then I've also supported marketing and sponsorship committees. And what was a really cool experience in that is that when I first started as an IR, I stuck to my comfort zone. I signed up for the committees that I felt I have these skills, I've got these experiences, I can apply that and really help the organization. But as I've grown with AWHE and just as a professional, I started seeing this as an opportunity to stretch my skills and learn some new things. So, for example, I served on the marketing and sponsorship committees last year. That was the first time that I've ever really delved into really deep marketing types of things. So learned a lot of new skills, a lot of things that I never thought that I would have gotten exposed to. So it's a really cool opportunity with AWHE to not only leverage the skills that you have, but also to grow some new skills potentially that you're interested in. And as mentioned, I am in my first term as state co-chair, so I will be in this role until 2023. So very exciting. Outside of this work, I'm a current program manager at Arizona State University in University Academic Success Programs, which supports tutoring operations. And I have worked at ASU since 2011, so just over 10 years now. It's very, very exciting. Some fun facts about myself. I am a voracious reader. So if you ever need a recommendation on something to read, feel free to let me know, and kind of a genre area you want to explore. I can probably come up with at least one recommendation for you. I'm also a runner. I've done a total of 6 half marathons. My last one was at the start, it was January 2020. So haven't done one in a full half marathon in quite some time, but starting to get that itch where maybe it might be time to sign up and train for another one. I enjoy traveling with my partner. We've got a couple of trips coming up planned now that travel is a little bit more easier. So we're looking forward to getting to explore the country and the world a little bit more. And I'm originally from Wisconsin. So I've mentioned I started working at ASU in 2011. Prior to that, I was in Reno, Nevada. I've also lived in South Dakota and spent the majority of my young adult childhood and and all of that in Wisconsin. So very much looking forward to continue not only this year's conference, but also continuing on for the next 2 years and being able to serve this organization and provide a lot of great opportunities for those folks wanting to get that experience and development in Arizona.
My name is Samantha Dempsey, and I am an institutional rep for Arizona State University. I've been an institutional rep for about 5 years with Arizona Women in Higher Education. I very much have enjoyed my experience being a rep, so much so that I've also been a chair and co-chair for the workshops committee. In these roles, I have learned a lot about just other individuals who are working in higher education, their career goals, what they're looking forward to doing as they progress in their career in higher education. I also feel that by being an institutional rep, I've gained not just like a networking experience, but I've also gained friends that I know I can call upon or, reach out to when needed. And they're going to have a similar experience that I'm experiencing just because they do work in the same field that I work in. The other thing is I've been learning a lot of new skills. So I've learned how to, work with people on a volunteer basis. I've been able to learn a lot about, collecting a lot of information and being able to disseminate that to individuals across the state of Arizona. I've been able to work and coordinate a lot with other individuals, other presenters, or individuals who are supporting the conference. So I've gained a lot of really great skills by being an institutional rep. And I look forward to many more years working with this organization. I very much value what they bring and what they provide to individuals across the state of Arizona. So if you've been interested in being an institutional rep, I definitely would encourage you to reach out. You can reach out to any of the institutional reps that are listed on the Arizona Women of Higher Education website, and they will gladly spend some time explaining their experience, maybe how you can get involved, what the time commitment looks like, and then really what you're going to gain by being part of this organization. Thank you. Have a great day.
Hi there, I'm Dr. Pamela Stewart, a historian at Arizona State University. I got involved with Arizona Women in Higher Education in 2014, presenting a workshop and also becoming an institutional representative, or IR. I immediately knew that there was nothing else like this fantastic organization. AWHE, as we often refer to it, allows each of us to be ourselves, extend our reach, and learn more. I became state co-chair between 2019 and 2021 and saw the amazing resilience of our organization as we all shifted gears to a virtual conference. Currently, I serve as vice chair of the executive board. I know we can get bogged down in our many responsibilities in terms of our career and far beyond it. But every time I have been part of an AWHE event, I come away feeling energized, motivated, and empowered. We need everyone involved in this inclusive organization. I hope anyone interested might reach out and connect.